Welcome to Fanatics Live, where we virtually connect you to your favorite athletes right at home. Tonight, we will be meeting with fans, signing autographs, and engaging in live Q&A. Now, let's welcome our host.
Welcome to a very special episode of Fanatics Live. My name is MC, and I will be your host for this afternoon's show. We will be shedding light on one of our Black-owned brands on Fanatics.com as we celebrate Black History Month together and as a company. It will be a discussion of sport, business, and social justice with Fanatics employees and fans. Today's guest is a modern-day Renaissance man. He really does do it all. Allan Houston played 9 seasons with the New York Knicks, is a 2-time NBA All-Star, and won a gold medal with the U.S. men's basketball team at the 2000 Summer Olympics. He is a father of 7, and he lives his life inspired by faith. Now he serves as the founder of Fizzle, yes, the apparel brand we carry on Fanatics, though its mission goes far beyond just clothes. Fizzle's activewear is an expression of the Fizzle values of faith, integrity, sacrifice, leadership, and legacy. It looks to engage and empower youth for leadership and impact through a diverse life coaching platform. In 2020, Fizzle launched its Time to Follow Through social justice NBA apparel collection. And together, the NBA, Fanatics, and Fizzle collectively donated $30,000 to social justice. So congratulations. We are excited to have Allan on today to learn more about his brand, his work, and simply just him. If you have any questions during the show, you can drop them in the comments on YouTube and Facebook, and we'll try to get to them at the end of the broadcast. So let's get things started and bring on Mr. Houston. How are you, Allan?
I'm great. How you doing, MC?
I'm doing good. I'm hanging in there. This has been a whirlwind of a week, and we got a lot of shows happening, but we are super excited to have you during our daytime matinee, and we are going to catch up with you and learn more about your brand and your mission.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. This is very exciting. I'm just excited about the partnership and the opportunity and just connecting with everyone out there who's watching, listening. Hope everything's well with everyone's family going through these times.
Well, great. Well, we're just going to jump right in. We did a show with Erin Andrews just a couple of weeks ago talking about her brand. So we're venturing into really getting to know the people behind the brands that are on Fanatics.com and really just getting to hear from you directly. But first, I know I mentioned the Fizzle values, faith. Let me read these again. Faith, integrity, sacrifice, leadership, and legacy. And I wanted you to break them down in your terms of why personally you chose these as your values for your foundation, and how it was kind of inspired by maybe your journey in basketball or just your journey in life. So let's hear from you.
Well, the whole thing was, so I played for my father at the University of Tennessee. He was the first Black head men's basketball coach in the Southeastern Conference in 1989. But before that, grew up in Louisville, Kentucky, and he coached under 2 national championships with the University of Louisville. They went to 4 Final Fours. Grew up in Louisville. So I started to understand the impact of my relationship with him as a father and as a coach. So we started doing mentoring retreats, helping young men connect with their fathers and father figures, and then children with adults who care for them. And we understood the impact of that relationship. So we couldn't go all over the world and do it. So we needed like a framework. We needed a playbook for those discussions and those in-between moments that a young person and adult share. So the 5 values of faith, integrity, sacrifice, leadership, and legacy came to me, and I just wrote it down. And it really comes down to, the values. Like you can have talent, you can have a skill in anything we do, no matter what our environment or circumstances are, but it really is the values that drive who we are and where we're going and what we aspire to be. So we wanted to make sure that the young person knows how to know what values are. So that's what faith, faith is foundation of me and my family, believing in yourself and your future. Integrity, my grandfather would always say, just do right. Do the right thing and good things will happen. Sacrifice is if you want to win and do anything in life, you know that you're going to have to make commitments. And so young people learning that, and all of us learning that, is important. leadership, everybody's a leader. I think everybody has a capacity to lead and make an impact. And legacy truly is that. It's about, maximizing your impact and multiplying your gifts and sharing that with the world. So we want young people and adults who are working with them to be proactive and intentional about these things.
I think that's great, and building a good foundation at a young age just sets everybody up for success. So, I mean, we're honored to have you here and have you speaking on this, and I'm sure, hopefully, some Thistle fans are watching. I know we're streaming on your Facebook as well, and Thistle supporters. So if you're here, just drop some love in the comments for Allan and what we're doing today. But yeah, I think that's great. It starts young, and sports is such a great mechanism to have access to children and have access to their interests. And it's a good way to relate to kids and get them really on board with your mission and your purpose. So great job.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
All right. Obviously, the switch from MBA turned business owner had to have been quite the journey. And there are a lot of avenues you could have chosen to gone down as a business owner, as a founder, different types of services and products. I mean, there's a million things in the world you could have chosen. What led you go down the path of apparel, and was sports apparel just like a no-brainer for you? Or how did you land on these sorts of items that we sell on Fanatics?
Well, you mentioned being, choosing something. And I believe that as an entrepreneur, you take ownership over something, but it chooses you. You don't choose it. One of the things that my wife and I, we have 7 children. And, one of the things I learned early is that you are a brand, right? Everyone is a brand. No matter if you own a company, you have value to the world, to someone. So for me, I was motivated by, first of all, being an entrepreneur. 2, image was very important to me. My father would always talk about, images. So your outer expression is what's going on in the inside of you. And so I thought that what I wore was an expression of who I am. And I think that's usually the case. So it wasn't about apparel. It was just about what you are and what you wear. Now, I was mindful of that. So what happened was, I had a friend of mine when I first signed with the Knicks 2 years in, and he had an opportunity to get an NBA license. So I partnered with him. And during that process, I really found that the creative process, the expression is really what I fell in love with, and the creative part. So when I look at this, I look at fabric, I look at functionality and fit, I look at design, I look at all those things as being an expression of who I am, who we are. At the end of the day, it's the values. You're not just wearing an item, you're expressing, to me, the values. And I think that's really where I didn't want this to be just an apparel company. I wanted this to be a message, a platform to help people that actually had merchandise. And it was great that the NBA felt compelled to do that, and Fanatics. So I think we're just aligned in that.
Yeah, I know the journey was NBA got on board, Fanatics got on board, and it is great product. It's really cool looking, super fashion forward. I have a couple of stats that our merchandising team shared with me about the brand. Already in 2021, like we're only 2 months in here. I don't know how we're almost at the end of February. Dang.
That's amazing.
You're already at 62,000 in sales, which is insane. So congratulations there. And that's up 12% from last year's year to date. So great job. That means people are liking the trends, liking where you're going. And currently we have about 140 different styles on the website, and we have a much more coming in 2021. I know in the spring and summer lines and some holiday lines that are coming up. We'll talk about some teasers of products in just a little bit, but we are happy to have you on. And just like you said, the partnership has been great, and we continue to look forward to seeing what you come up with and what you give us. But one doesn't just jump into fashion. Obviously, you say you've always been kind of interested in your outward expression. That means you have a little bit of fashion sense, obviously. You must care about like the fabrics, how things look, how the patterns come together. What I know you said you're kind of choosing some of these details, but what is your actual role in the designing process? Do you have a team Do you have a team helping you and pitching you?
So fortunately, I have two people that have been very helpful, teaching me a lot about the process, from sourcing to the cost, how long it takes, what type of design will fit with this fabric. The uniqueness of what we wanted to create is, in fact, I feel like men are always trying to catch up to women, right? And meaning women have this fashion sense naturally because they just have this expression. And I think a lot of men don't care, but I've always cared. So the functionality of what you see in trending is like this athleisure fashion.
Yes.
And it's always been something that I wanted to do years ago. Like you see now, like people wearing sport coats with hoodies, tennis shoes.
So good.
And so to me, like we were doing that a couple of years ago, and now we're just kind of accelerating it, right? So we're just adding like tie-dye to, a lot of messaging and tie-dye to the hood, a lot of cool things and for me, I've always wanted to be a timeless dresser. Like I'll go in my closet and see something that was 6 years ago that I can still
wear.
A little bigger. But that's what I want this to be. I want it to be something that you can wear. You can wear to a game. You can wear to an AAU. You can go anywhere in it and feel very comfortable, fashionable in it. And by the way, if someone challenges you to a 2-on-2 game or something, I'm ready to go. You know what I mean? That's really what it's about. It's about having a man, look fashionable, look good without him looking like he tried to, and for a woman, it's subtleness. For a woman, it's like, this is what I've been looking for. I want to go somewhere and I don't feel like I'm just like this huge team person, but it's fashion. Like if it's Lakers, if it's Knicks and wherever it is, it didn't even have to be in season. I just look, It just looks good. I think that's what mattered.
Right. Yeah. That's the same sort of messaging Erin Andrews was talking about. And hers is from the female perspective of like a girl wants to rep their team, but you don't want to just walk into a room and scream your team or just be in a jersey or something. So I think it's super important to capture that women's market and give them something that they really can wear every day, but also staying trendy, and you can rep your hometown ahead. Exactly.
Is from kind of European fashion. So it's like I went to Australia 2 years ago and I played in the Olympics and I revisited there and I saw a lot of cool stuff. And so for me, I'm like, when will we have this? So for me, like it's not just now. It's staying ahead so that when everybody else catches up, you're like, yeah, we've been doing that.
Yeah, we've been doing it. Exactly. So I know we said we were going to tease a little bit. What's upcoming? I have a couple of sketches, some previews of some designs that might be coming out in May. So let's break some of these down. We were talking about women's styles. So up first, we have a pink Lakers set. So where are we going with these joggers?
Yeah,
he's breaking into jogger industry.
They're like the jogger genie type, comfortable flow, that again, a lady. See, I have 5 daughters, and my wife, I get inspired by her because I think she's super swaggy, and she does it without trying. And I think that's really what I feel like this is about, both men and women. But the crop tops are really done well. Yeah. And the fabric, this doesn't give justice to the fabric and the actual knitting. So it's really about, being multi-dimensional, multi-seasonal, again, fashion forward, and be like, oh, that's on Lakers. That's, it's Knicks. Like,
it's more of the secondary. It's the secondary thought. Yeah, right. That's awesome. It looks like it's going to be very soft. I feel like
everything starts with fabric. Like to me, like if it's doesn't feel good when you wear it, then I'm like, we're not doing that.
Yeah, that's my decision-making process. Is I do this little touch test. If it passes, it's in the shopping cart.
Yeah. And then when you put it on, it's like, oh, God, I gotta get some more of this.
Yeah, exactly. We also, tie-dye is taking over fashion, obviously, but I think it's great. I'm down for tie-dye to stick around forever and ever. This Lakers set also is,
like hoodies. Hoodies, I don't think they will always be here, right? Yep. And now they're just becoming more like trendy, fashionable, like different age demographics as well. Mm-hmm. Right? So The tie-dye is cool. So we're like if you see the little hint on the pant leg. And
yeah,
again,
the matching.
Shorts, like even the shorts, like the fit of the shorts is important to me, right? You see now like the shorts that people play in and perform in, they're changing a little bit. So like the fashion element has to fit that, right? Even the form and the fit, how long they are, all those details, like to me matter. And the tie-dye going down the sides, the tie-dye, the functionality, like you don't want to have any color going across the font. You know, like everything really matters. And that's really what Fizzle, the brand, is about. Like we tell our young people and the adults, everything matters. Every detail, every word, every thought, right? Every time you look at something, it's registering something in your mind that could help something down the line. And that to me is what is in all the design.
Yeah, I like that. You see a lot of the matching sets for females, like the co-ord sets are super trendy right now. But I like that you gave the guys one. Guys need them too. And guys need some tie-dye.
Like guys front, they don't want to like act like they put a lot of attention into it, but they want to they want to look good. You know, David Stern did something really powerful, right, for NBA fans. When he enforced the dress code, a lot of people fought it. But it says something about you know, when you take care of how you look and how you feel. And I think that guys don't really make that primary a lot. But when they do, they're like, yeah, you know, you feel
good. Yeah. And then the last set we're going to talk about is a Knicks set. Of course, we got to throw in a little Knicks action here. But talk us through this one. These shorts are different than the last shorts.
Yeah, like so. This is again that thing of trying to be a little bit forward. Like I'm always going to push the button a little bit, but not to the point where people are like, man, get out of here. Like it's almost like. So you remember like years ago when men just started to wear like the tighter suits, right? And those people who started to wear them were like, that's not looking bad. Next thing you know, everybody's doing it. So like this is kind of a little bit of that where the shorts are just below the knee, but they're like the fitted joggers, just a little. And so we want to really explore that. I think it's going to look really good, and a good thing too. You want something that's not going to just look good on a certain body type and fit, right?
Inclusive of everybody.
Inclusive of everybody. And then obviously the sleeveless hoodie is it's a game winner no matter what. You know what I mean? And I think for spring and summer, I'm excited about that one.
Yeah, I think May is going to have some great stuff. That was just a few of the designs that we were seeing. Everybody.
There's a lot of stuff in there that I'm excited about. This is actually the first line, honestly, that last year, you know, we tried some stuff, but we put a lot of thought into this and just thankful for Fanatics for believing in it.
No, I like the color. Like you said, athleisure is kind of how fashion has just gone since everybody's been working from home and we get to be a little bit more comfortable, but we still want to feel cute. And I think now that people are so comfortable in their clothes, we're never going to go back to real clothes.
It's crazy. People are going to be like going from the Zoom to the park. Like, I don't want to change. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You know?
Well, great work. I'm glad we got to see this. And thanks for sharing. Everybody, stay tuned for the upcoming products dropping in May and watch the Fizzle brand on Fanatics.com. And stay tuned. I'm done with my segment. We're done talking about clothes. I'm going to pass the mic to my co-host, Kimberly Alula. But she's going to dive more into your work with social justice and the things you've been doing with your foundation. I thought it made sense to pass the mic off to the head of innovation and inclusion at Fanatics. Although she's new to this title, she does a great job of being a catalyst within the company to share these stories and celebrate Black lives, not only in February and Black History Month, but every single day. So let's bring Kimberly onto the screen. Hey, Kimberly, how are you?
Great. How are you guys today?
Doing good. I'm going to head out. You got it? Are you good?
I'm good. Thank you,
Okay.
MC. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. So, hi, Allan. How's it going?
Good to see you again, Cam.
Good to see you again. Before we dive into the inspiration for the social justice collection, we wanted to do a short roll of a trailer for your upcoming film, Coachable. So we're going to give a little trailer peek here, and then we'll come back.
Everybody bring it in. Hold the ball. Have a seat. Did everyone download the app?
what's this Fissile thing?
We work on dribbling.
Is this part of your app?
Everything makes me better.
Yeah, it is.
I got faith in the work.
My wife got it for me. What position do you play? 2.
Thought it would help coaching.
Don't you play the 2?
I do.
Shoot it. I got you.
He didn't take it. Take what in? Taking that bike too.
How much involvement do we get from these kids, people? Why would you have them do that?
Leaders are self-made.
He could have did anything that he wanted to do.
Faith, integrity, all that stupid stuff don't mean nothing to me. Maybe it would if you let somebody show you.
All I know is I can't coach if I can't connect, and that's all I'm trying to do.
Wow, that was powerful. So tell me a little bit more. Tell me about the story that's being told here and why you thought this was an important message to launch through the Fizzle platform.
Everybody needs a coach. Everybody needs a coach, and no matter where you are in life, you know, I'm passionate about young people. My wife and I, our foundation, and no matter where you are in your life, no matter what your gifts and talents are, you need a coach, and you need someone to kind of push you. And so, I think what happens is a lot of young people, we all need that direction. So, Coachable is that story about how a coach and an older person can connect with the young people. Like Kim, this is the first generation, I think, maybe not the first. We literally can look at our kids and say, I don't know what you're going through. Yeah. Between social media, between all the things, like, so we need coaching as well on how to be there for a young generation. A young generation needs values, needs to lead us through this, but they need direction. We need direction. So Coachable is really about a young person and an adult really connecting. So many coaches in just in life now, not just basketball coaches, they get caught up in skill development, game strategy, winning games, but really it comes down to values, character, and winning in life. So the whole Fizzle brand and the whole network and the whole brand is just about that. Yeah. And we really impart those. So in the movie, we have like this app and this place that you can go to. And if you saw, you can go see it, fizzle.tv, go see it. It's a 30-minute short film. And it's really powerful because you see it right there, what the impact you can have. But fizzle.tv, Fanatics 21 is the passcode. It's a limited thing. And in it, we're really just saying, like, if you want to learn more about how you can impact, you know, be someone who can have impact, then go watch the movie. And then we have a Team Fizzle app. So last night, you know, real quickly, I'm still working with the Knicks, and we played the Warriors. It was the first time that, you know, people were in the building again. It was great. So Steph Curry was coming. Steph Curry was coming, you know, doing off the court. And then he was like, we talked about coaching. He has a whole coaching platform. Yeah. It's like, you know, it's really about having this connection between a young person and getting into the heart and helping them be better.
It's interesting. Do you think that this is particularly important for children of color?
I think it's particularly important for everybody. You know, it's particular. You know. Here's the thing: like, no matter what background you come from, socioeconomic. Like, I live here in Greenwich, Connecticut, right? And there's so many young people who feel like they're being neglected, and then you have the other component of people who are, you know, saying, you know, I don't have my parents at home. I'm in this really intense situation. So yes, everybody needs this dynamic, you know, and it's important.
I think we lost your audio there, Allan. I think you went on mute. Virtual life, everybody loves it, right? We're all here all the time. I think we might have lost him for a second. So I heard some feedback. Maybe there's a little, there he is.
It could have been a parenting moment. I've had a lot of those.
All right, we'll get him added back. There.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Sorry about that. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just really important, for young people to feel supported, connected. And I think the whole thing is like, no matter where you're from, no matter what your background, I think that we're in a time where young leaders are being risen up. I mean, you look at this movie about Fred Hampton, the Black Panther leader from Chicago. He was only 20 years old. And Dr. King, John Lewis, they were just out of high school and college. And so there are a lot of young people, even in college, who are saying, I'm anxious. What's this all mean? I'm being removed from my surroundings. What does this really mean? And we're saying, like, be encouraged, be inspired. You know what I mean? Like, we're here to help you and support you, but we're going to challenge you, right? We're going to challenge you to think about these values, because that's really what's going to drive you.
Absolutely. That's such a great reminder that so many of the great civil rights leaders really were young when they got started. I think we reflect on how long ago it was, or maybe how old they were, in the 60s, but they got started early, and they're really a huge part of driving the culture. So speaking of culture, as we talk about it, you and I met really last year when we started to think a little bit more about, our new platform, which is called IDEA, Inclusion, Diversity, Equality, and Advocacy at Fanatics. And for us, it's really all about, to what you just said, like driving the culture, moving forward, listening to our people who work for us, listening to our fans, and of course, listening to our vendors. So we got connected through that. I'm really curious, in your time, whether it's playing in the NBA, working with the Knicks, what are the ways that you have experienced some different diversity and inclusion initiatives or things that you've seen work really well in your career?
Well, first of all, I think it's important to really understand what diversity and inclusion is. I think it's something that we have all adopted because of a lot of circumstances, right? Whether it's social unrest, police shootings, all these things have made us really look at what is our real identity, right? As a nation, as a capitalist society, as corporate. So it really comes down to opportunity, right? And education and access. Do you have a voice? Do you have a belonging? Do you have a stake? For me, I look at in sports, there's a lot to be made of. The majority, over 70% of athletes in the NBA particularly are Black, right, or brown. And what happens is when you finish playing, do you really have an opportunity to advance? Do you have an opportunity to not just be a coach, but to be a general manager? Do you have a chance to be on a board of governors? Do you have a chance to be head of marketing? My mentor was Steve Mills, went to Princeton, played against the best players, went on to work at the NBA under David Stern, became the president. Like these are opportunities that we want to have available. In a lot of corporate settings, shout out to Jack, Fanatics for really welcoming this, and you and in your board discussions, right? Do you have diverse perspectives and access and thought, inclusion of thought and experience? Do they have a voice? Do they have a path forward? And I think just as a culture, like that needs to be something, because a lot of people are saying, well, I don't see color. I don't see this. Well, yeah, you have to see it that way. Even in our kids, our kids see it in school. A white person is treated differently than a Black person. It's just the way it is. So we have to be okay with discussing it and then saying, look, we want to not only hear your voice, but we want to provide a path forward for you.
Absolutely. I always say that, it's usually a very well-intentioned comment when someone says, oh, I don't see color. But I challenge that to say, see my color and embrace it as a unique perspective and a good reason to have something new at the table here. And so that's a great comment. So again, we got to know each other a little bit better, last spring and summer when there were a lot of hashtags out there about buying Black and shopping and supporting Black-owned businesses. It's something that, in my merchandising experience, I really wanted to dig deeper, find those Black-owned businesses that were licensed across the leagues, and make a real effort to grow them. And I know that that's how we, had some of our initial conversations. And the partnership that MC mentioned earlier about the social justice line. Did you want to kind of walk through how that came about? And I see you're wearing one of the t-shirts now.
Yeah, so it says love our game, value our life. So what happened was the NBA, we had our licensing agreement with the NBA, and they've been very good about that. And so what happened was we had a conversation about social justice and what could we do? Obviously, not just because you're a Black-owned brand, but we value your perspective on this issue. And the University of Tennessee, I don't know, I hear a weird noise. University of Tennessee came out with a message in supporting our Black players. Support our Black players off the field, off the court, the same way you support them as fans, right? And so I thought this was the path that we wanted to take. And so how do we say that, right? Say that. Like, don't just say love our game. Don't just say, love our game. Because I think most people wanted to say it's not just about loving our game. It's about valuing our life. Don't put the game at the highest, aspiration. Put our life at the highest aspiration. So that's why we came up with this saying of love our game, value our lives. And so I also wanted to be not exclusive, because it's not just about Black people. It's about us coming together, recognizing that this is about a background of cultural Black people who have been disenfranchised, dehumanized, but we still are one nation. We still are one people. So it's value. Women can say this: love my game, value my life, right? Can say this. So for me, like, we know the origin of it, but it still makes sure that people understand, like, this message is universal and it's eternal. And that's what, like, all our continued messages to be.
Absolutely. It's such a great point that, a lot of times you hear in the news that you want to separate the athlete from, off court versus on court. And I think that this really drives home that message that you can't separate the two. And so just finally, as it relates to Black-owned business, we've had some good conversations. I want you to share your thoughts on generational wealth and how entrepreneurship really became a focus for you.
So growing up in Louisville, Kentucky, I'll always tell the story that my mother grew up 2 houses down from Muhammad Ali's, the west end of Louisville. And when I was 9 to 10 years old, I remember working in my parents' small grocery store, like a corner store, bagging groceries, just seeing that we owned it. Like, we had part ownership in that. And when you walk out of your neighborhood and you see that, like, it's empowering. And it's my father and my parents were always kind of entrepreneurs, even when they had to work at the University of Louisville, when they had their jobs. My dad's a coach because, his father, worked in a factory. They didn't have unions to get laid off. So it was always about making sources of ways to provide. So entrepreneurship became something that was aspirational, and education. So if you have access to education and you have support to even envision yourself as an entrepreneur and to have ownership, you have this thing in your mind, in your heart, and your spirit, where it's just, that's what I want to do, and I want to have a piece of it. The question is, you need access to intellectual capital, resources, and ways to kind of have sustainability, not just say I have an idea. Well, how long can this last? Who can I have to help me sustain it, market it, keep it alive, and then help other people, employ other people, so maybe they can have the same vision.
Absolutely. Well, we look forward to making sure that Fizzle gets, the visibility and the growth it deserves all year long, not just, last summer or Black History Month. We're really excited for the growth and offering our fans that fashion that you mentioned with MC earlier. So I think that wraps up my part. I'm going to kick it back over to MC. Thank you.
Great job, Kim. Thanks so much for joining. We appreciate it. Well, that was Kimberly Alula. I'm sure everybody knows her very well at this point, but we do believe it's important to have these conversations and educate our employees, our fans, our customers about the efforts that we're making within the company to be more diverse and inclusive. So be on the lookout. That was the last thing. The show again. I wanted to just tease that one more time. Your Coachable short film. If we can roll that banner one more time at the bottom of the screen to just let everybody know if you want to watch the full Coachable short film.
Fizzle.tv. Yeah. And Fizzle.tv, and the password is Fanatics21 lowercase. Love to, it's 30 minutes quick. It's impactful, and just love to have your feedback.
Yeah, we appreciate you giving us some insider access to that. So thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. We've done a lot of talking. We've done a lot of interview questions, but we're going to pass it over to some of our own Fanatics employees. Like we said, it's important to have these conversations. So we wanted to invite 5 or 6 people on the line to get to meet you virtually, of course, and ask you a question, and we'll get an autograph signed for them at the end of the meet and greet. So without further ado, we are going to bring on Brittany. She's based out of the Jacksonville, Florida Fanatics office. She's the director of integrated marketing and merchandising and marketing. Her favorite sports team, I did know this after like 2 conversations with her. She's a diehard Gators fan. And her current favorite fashion trend is athleisure. So she's right on brand with what you're offering. So let's bring on Brittany.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, Brittany, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. So you touched on some of your foundation, but I wanted to ask, what has been the biggest learning or learnings that you've had from all of your philanthropic projects?
Well, you have to stick. First of all, obviously, you get into philanthropy or social impact because you have something, a cause that's really deep and passionate for you. What I learned is you want to have sustainability and long-term impact. So you have to have a plan and a strategy and a team to really help you. It's no different than a business, and wherever you, as an employee or an employer, you're working with that to grow it. And so I learned that when we were doing camps and workshops, how could I expand the message and the methodology and not, if I wasn't here, my father wasn't there, how could this live in other areas? So that's really wanted to scale it. So for me, it was about having a real plan, having a strategy. How can you execute it? Having a team of support that can help you really think through honestly and authentically, like you might want to think this. And so that support of helping you realize your vision and making sure it lives on. Because I want to say, if I'm not here, can this live on? Can people still be impacted by the message? Like, think about how many messages you can watch on YouTube from Kobe Bryant or other people, and you're still impacted by it. And so for me, it was like, how can that live on? And so I think it's having a plan, have a strategy, budget, all those things. And then how do you even measure impact? What does that look like for you?
What success, basically?
Yeah.
So you view it kind of with an entrepreneurial lens.
I think you have to, in a way, because it doesn't start there, right? It starts with what motivates you, because you may say, I just want to give my time once a month. That's fine. If that's what you want to do, that's great. But for me, I wanted something that could live the message could live and breathe in as many places as possible, because it was the message. It wasn't me. And then I wanted it to be tangible. And so how do you actuate values, right? You have to teach them and show how they live and look. So for me, that's really where I did have to look at it like a skillful business strategy.
Awesome.
Well, that was a good question. Great question, Brittany. We're going to get that. Yeah, you can go ahead and sign that for her, and we'll get that shipped to you. So we're so excited. Looks great.
Thank you.
Love
Thank
it.
you for the question.
Thank you, Brittany.
Yeah.
So, Allan, we usually do these with, I mean, we do have some fans who are going to send some videos and ask you some questions, but typically we don't have our Fanatics employees on here. So it's kind of fun that we get to show them our normal showtime process. Up next is Christy. He's also based out of the Jacksonville, Florida office. He's a buyer for headwear and branded entertainment. He's a diehard fan for his alma mater, Georgia Bulldogs. And he set a goal for himself to reach breaking 80 in golf, and he found it. So let's bring on Christy.
What's going on, Allan? How you doing?
How you doing, man?
Doing really good. I got to tell you, on a personal note, I grew up in the late '90s and early 2000s in Westchester, New York. So this is like I'm true. So
awesome, man. Awesome.
As a New Yorker, I got to ask you, Madison Square Garden. It's widely considered the basketball mecca, right? And you spend the majority of your time there. So I know everybody's got their own opinions, but what for you made it so special?
Well, first, you hear so much about it, right? You hear the Garden has its own aura and energy no matter who plays in it, right? You can walk in the Garden immediately and feel the nostalgia, right? And it's just something about, so it has its own presence. So you have to, first of all, know that you got to meet that every night, right? Then every team takes on the personality and identity kind of its fan base, of its community, of its. So New Yorkers are grimy, but they're swaggy, right? They have this grimy, but they also have this element of fashion, culture. So they're very complex, but they work hard and they're honest and they know the game. Yeah. So you take on that and you just feel like I have a standard that I have to meet and live up to every single night. And then when you play in that building, you know that when you played in New York and you go somewhere else, you feel like you can do anything. And I think you can. So like all these things kind of come in. And the biggest thing is like, you'll never experience as high or low in a sport as playing in Madison Square Garden. And I had the fortune of coming into a situation where the culture was established, the standard was high, experienced some success. And so I felt like I had to come in and just sustain it and enhance it and not let it go back. And I was fortunate to have other teammates who felt the same way. You're always, the Garden is always bigger than you. You know what I mean? And you just always feel that no matter how big you are as a player, the Garden is always bigger. The stage is always bigger than you. And I felt like that's what was so powerful about it.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for answering.
That was a great question. We're going to get that.
Can I put golf balls on here?
Please don't. Please don't. Do something about 914, New York, anything.
Yeah, don't ask a Georgia Bulldog for anything volunteer related. Well, thanks for the time, Christy, and thanks for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
All right, buddy.
Appreciate it.
Okay, we're going to keep things going. I learned the pronunciation. I'm going to try very hard. Soraya. Did I get it right? Hopefully so. She's also based out of Jacksonville. She's an associate buyer. And she asked to not be judged for being a Detroit Lions fan. Her dad made her this way, so she doesn't want to be judged for that. She wanted to put that out here. And she is obsessed with the resurgence of tie-dye. So right on brand with some of those previews we got coming up, and it reminds her of her childhood. So let's bring her on.
Thank you.
Did I get it right?
No, it's actually Saria, like Maria.
Maria. I should have wrote that. Saria. There we go.
It's okay. Hi, Allan, how are you doing?
My daughter is a huge Lions fan because my wife is from the Detroit area. So listen, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah, I have to be a little honest. My dad is still mad that you left the Pistons, but
that's all right. Yeah.
So what role does faith play in your life and your leadership?
Well, it was a foundation of every thought process from the beginning for me. I grew up in Louisville, Kentucky, when I grew up in the South, like even if you didn't go to church, you had some type of faith-based connection. And so for me, it was strong in our family. But I also think that when people talk about like identity, you know, who you are, and it's not to me so much starting with, you know, your gender or your personality. It's really like, who do you believe God says you are, right? And where is your path? So for me, it's like if I know that God created me, gave me life, gave me inspiration, then I want to understand that path, that journey. Because to me, really, it's hard. I don't know how you live life without trying to search for that and understand that, because you know you start to see your path and you have a vision for your life. So for me, another part of leadership and faith is, as a leader, I think most people, you give people confidence by your knowledge base, by your work ethic, but your confidence. And your confidence comes from your work ethic and the work you put in. So I just think that a trust factor has to be key in a leadership. When you're working with a team or a captain or whoever, you're a leader, you have to develop a trusted relationship. So faith comes in that realm too, where you have to develop trust with relationships. But I think for me, just knowing who I am, knowing where I'm going, knowing that I don't have to really worry about what people think about me too much, as long as I'm true and authentic to my beliefs, and I don't subscribe to be from me, you know, because I believe, you know, if I'm listening to what God has for me, then I follow that and I can be secure in that. It's not easy all the time, but that gives me confidence when I'm working with other people. It gives me an authentic trust with other people, and it gives me a stronger vision too of where I'm supposed to go.
Wow, thank you. That was really powerful.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Allan. Yeah, we can get that autograph signed for you. And I think it's great for, like we said, we're having open conversations about race. It's also great to have open conversations about religion and how important that is along your journey.
Can I just say this too? Like, I'm glad you asked that too, Saria, because when people like look at Fizzle, right, and they say, are you a faith-based brand, right? And we have kids that are in school, teachers that are in school, in public institutions, that are asking for prayer, for meditation, to understand that they know that there's a spiritual realm that they need support in, right? So if you want to see it that way, yes, but it's not about religion. Like, it's about who you really truly believe in. It's the source of your faith, right? So I just want to say that, because when you say faith, it can scare people, but it shouldn't, right? It really should give you like a levity.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Did we get that autograph signed? Are we? Yeah. How's it coming along? Looking great. We'll get that sent out to you shortly. Thank you so much, Saria, for joining.
I won't go Lions on there. I'll just leave it.
Okay, thank you. Nice meeting you.
You too. You too.
Okay, we're keeping things going. We got 3 more people dialed in. Up next is Calvin. He's based out of the Wizards Capitol Arena. He's a warehouse manager in Washington, D.C. His all-time favorite sports team was the 2003 Syracuse basketball championship team. Still to this day, that's his favorite team. And he set a goal for himself to start a sports podcast, and he did it. So I feel like we need to bring him on as a host on one of these shows one of these days.
Yeah.
Let's bring on Calvin.
Allan, how you doing today, man?
How you doing, man? You doing all right?
I'm doing well. I still remember the way the ball bounced on that rim. Knicks to the NBA Finals. I was watching it with my mom, so I'm a huge fan of the Knicks. I'm a huge fan of you, that team. So it's nice to be here with you today.
Thanks, man.
But like MC said, I do have a sports podcast, and occasionally I do have current athletes, former athletes that get on there, and we always talk about is somewhat like the life after. With you former NBA player and currently an entrepreneur and business owner. Can you speak to your most proudest moment or your proudest accomplishment, and whether in any tough decisions or sacrifices you had to make to get there?
Man, I don't know if I could say that one accomplishment, because to me, I look at having 7 children. You know, my wife and I are going on 25 years this summer. I'll be 50 in April, and this year has been the year where I think a lot of us think about life in a whole different way. You know, you think about people who may have lost and your mortality and all this stuff. So I look at it in totality, like blessing of having my children, being able to just be able to have an opportunity to do what they want to do. That's why this brand is important to me, because you provide for those opportunities, and you can still give them the value system. I think for our sacrifices, you know, for so long when you're playing in sports, your life is built around you, centered around you, especially when you get to this level. People do things for you, they tell you things, and you kind of forget about the people that are making sacrifices for you, you know, your wife, your parents, you know, people. And you become very egocentric. So I think kind of getting removed from that and saying, all right, well, I have to do things differently. You know, I have to sacrifice my time now to make sure that the foundation of your family and everything is right. You have to give up a lot of, like, I don't look at my time as my own, my life as my own. Because when you have 7 children and you have a busy lifestyle, like every second might be one thing or a conversation or something that impacts them. So I value relationships, I value moments. So I think it's an ongoing sacrifices every day. You know, things that I might want to eat or do that I don't, because I want to make sure that the foundation is secure. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense, Allan. I'm a father as well, so I completely, understand and empathize with you when it comes to that. So I definitely appreciate that answer, and I would love to have you on the show one of these days. So I'll definitely.
I'm gonna do it. We're gonna do it. You got me live. We're gonna do it.
Yes, sir. Appreciate that.
All right, that's awesome. We got him locked in, Calvin. Good for you.
Yeah.
Taking the time.
Yeah.
So we'll make it happen for you.
Okay.
We got that autograph signed for you, and we'll get that sent to you.
Thank you. Appreciate
Hang
it.
it up in the warehouse.
That's it.
Perfect.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, Calvin. That was a great question. I liked that a lot. Very thoughtful. Andy is up next. He's a senior buyer for NBA jerseys. So we got a NBA focused employee coming on the line here. His current favorite fashion trend are the 90s inspired products. I think they're definitely making a comeback. And the Nike edition, the City Edition jerseys, those have always been pretty cool.
Yeah.
And as a 10-year-old obsessed with the NBA, and even to this day, the 1992 Dream Team still ranks as the best of all time in his opinion. So let's bring on Andy.
Hey, how you doing, Allan?
What's up, Andy? How you doing, man?
Doing good, doing good. Yeah, man, Calvin kind of touched on it, and I was kind of curious, being just a huge 90s basketball fan. It was more than just basketball. It was a whole cultural thing, and I think people are going to look back at 90s basketball as being like one of the greatest eras of any sports ever. So with that, in the late 90s, the Heat and the Knicks was one of the premier rivalries in sports. I'm kind of curious, what was running through your mind going into the series? And then what was going through your mind? Only the second 8 seed to take out a 1 seed at that time.
Well, you gotta remember, like, that series was so intense even prior to that, so we never really felt, that we were 8th seed. During that season, it was a lockout season. It was a shortened season. We made some moves early, so we had to make some adjustments and getting used to playing together, roles, dynamics. But we caught a really strong momentum at the end of that season. So we felt pretty good. I think, I learned early from watching my father's teams play in Louisville, like you want to catch a momentum and start playing your best at the end of the season. And we were doing that. So kind of coming in, we knew each other back and forth. You know, we were like, both those teams were mirror images of each other. So really we knew it was going to come down to making plays, making shots, and executing in at the end of the games. Like that was the whole series. So that moment really was I didn't think about anything other than just, you know what, it was, you know, you go to Miami, you see New York fans, just the whole rivalry. It's like, you know, it comes out.
Yeah, that's awesome. It definitely felt like more like an Eastern Conference final, and the winner was going to the finals, you know, no matter what, especially with kind of Jordan being out of there. So yeah, man, those series were something that, you know, even though I wasn't a Heat Knicks fan, I grew up just kind of making sure I tuned into every single game of those series.
Great question, Andy, and it's fun to relive some of those incredible sports history moments. I'm sure a lot of people have never forgot that.
Thank you.
That looks great. We'll get that sent out to you, Andy, and thank you again for dialing in. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, last but not least, we have Paul. He's also based out of the Jacksonville office, but he is calling in from Seattle. So we got someone over on the PNW calling in. He's an assistant corporate controller, and he's been a Miami Heat fan since day one. So we got a little questionable color on the line. And his goal is to lift as he climbs, which I think is a great phrase, a great mindset to stay in, and trying to inspire others to make a difference while he's on his journey as well. So let's bring on Paul.
Allan, it's so nice to meet you.
You're right, man.
It's an incredible honor. I just remember, you know, I grew up in the 90s, you know, and I'm actually a Florida Gator as well.
Okay.
You know, so you and Charlie Ward, like the both being in Vols and FSU, you guys killed me a couple of times, right?
Right.
But all good, man. I feel like as you know, I watched you play. You know, you were like a brother to me. You know, I really looked up to you for a lot of the reasons you described earlier. You carried yourself with a sense of dignity that made me look and made me want to be better. I also remember it felt like you always had that tight fade. You know, I was like, man, this dude is like always getting a good fade before the game. You know?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Well, now I have to keep it tight because I don't want the grades to show. So I got to see I was preparing for that.
I wear the hat for that reason. Yeah. So my question for you, and by the way, thank you for making the comments about faith and those kinds of things. It's so good to hear. You know, your foundation, right? Like it's amazing. My question for you is about your legacy, and really kind of as you get to the point of 75, 80 years old and start to reflect upon your life, when people talk about you, what do you want them to say about your contribution, not only to the game of basketball, but to people of color and to the broader humanity?
Man, that's a great question. Thank you, first of all, for your comments, for your question. Even the question is very thought provoking. To me, you know, that is why this brand is so impactful to me, because it's right out there out front. When you look at the letters, it tells you right there that this is really what I want the legacy to be. Like you said, I've had people say, man, I bought your jersey not because of the way you score, but my dad bought it for me because of what you said. Right. So to me, like, that's everything. Right. When I retired, I got a text from a former teammate, and he said, man, I just saw a man of God up there on the stage. Like, that meant everything to me. Right.
Yeah.
You know, was he authentic? Did he really, really care? Like, I don't want anybody to ever question what this brand is about, what I'm about, my motive. Right. In my willingness to just think about that, think about impact. I just think about that. I think about my father, made me think about what you're thinking, what you're saying. And sometimes, like, to some people, it can be exhausting and like feel like too much pressure. But think about this, like when you hear things about Kobe right now, right? Now all you hear is, man, he was so impactful. He called me and he said this. Nobody knew anything about that. That's things that he was doing between his time helping people.
That's
right? So it doesn't really matter, quite honestly, in a way, what people who don't know me say. But if they can say, man, you know what, like, I like what he was about.
Yeah.
And I saw something on a comedian, right? Patrice O'Neal. It was a documentary, right? And one thing that they said about him was like, who he was on stage was where he was everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, you just got to be the same.
Yeah.
And I think hopefully that's what basically they, my kids is to know, like, this is what it's about. Like, you can't have a brand and say all these words. And I'm not claiming to be like, I don't want to claim to be above anything. It's just that that's what my heart really wants to do. Right.
I hear that. Look, every time I've seen you, you continue to portray the person that I saw and was inspired by the first day. Right. And even when you speak today, you talk about being in a relationship with your wife for 25 years. That's something I look up to and say, gosh, I want to be like that one day. I want to have a relationship with my wife that extends that long. Today, we're celebrating 13 years together. And for me, it's like having people to look up to that have done it says to me that I could do it. You know? So, hey, man, keep on carrying the torch. You are lifting as you climb.
Love that, man.
And I'm following along with you, man.
I appreciate that. That's a great mantra. It never stops, and I appreciate that.
There you go.
Yeah, Paul, that was incredible. Thanks for the awesome question, and thank you for taking the time to call in today. So we'll get that autograph done for you. We'll get that shipped out to you just as a thank you for coming on and
keep lifting.
Appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
Well, these were great. I'm very impressed by my fellow employees. Y'all asked some amazing questions, and I hope that everybody watching, there was a lot of lessons to pull from your answers and from these questions. So I think a lot of people left feeling very impacted from that segment. So thank you so much to everybody, and thank you, Allan. We're not done. Okay. Of course, we're never done. We have 2 social media questions we want to feature. Up first is
now look, I got to do one thing because my batteries on my computer's running out. If you give me 1 minute, I'm gonna go get my charge. Okay.
Oh, Allan, don't give me 1 minute alone on this screen. This is never good, guys. I could start saying jokes. We could sing. I'm not a very good singer. Let me see what I'm feeling today. I don't know. I'm on TikTok now, and so the jokes are just really bad. They're good, but they're bad. Kimberly's back. Let's bring her on.
I'm not sure why we brought me back. Definitely not to sing. I thought you were going to do a little TikTok dance.
Oh, trust me. I get so sweaty trying to get the choreography down. I'm like, what are these 13-year-olds doing? Like, how did their brains think this way? But I'm trying to stay relevant.
I've committed myself to not being relevant anymore. So I'm done after Instagram, and I have joined Clubhouse. So that's as far as I'm going to get, I think.
What's Clubhouse?
See, you have to be invited. I'll tell you about it later. But thank you so much for this. I know we're still waiting to follow up today. This has been incredible. I hope that it's the first of many employee-specific or employee-driven opportunities that we have. I think that everyone's just gotten so much out of it. So thank you so much for this, MC. So I'm going to go back out of this.
Okay, we're back. We're back and we're better. Y'all plugged up? You ready to get back into the show? Okay. Nothing surprises me anymore. We've been dialed into virtual conferences for a year now, so I'm used to everything.
Right.
So up first, we have Lynette. We reached out to her. She kind of participated in your question that you put on Instagram. She wrote in a really good question, and she's also a business owner. So let's see what Lynette wants to ask you.
Hi, my name is Lynette Clement, and I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So the question that I had is, was it a challenging transition to go from the NBA into entrepreneurship? So thank you, Fanatics, for allowing me to ask that question.
Yeah, thanks for that question. Yeah, you know, and when you play sports all your life, you learn a skill set, right? And you don't have the kind of foundational tools and skills, right? So in anything, being an entrepreneur, there's so many things that I had to learn.
Right.
You know, just balance sheets and the whole makeup. And my parents always taught me, like, when you want to go into entrepreneurship, you can never be an absentee owner. You can't just, I mean, you can invest and like say, okay, let's see tell me what happens, or you can really understand the business, what goes on. So patience, learning to deal with things you really can't control, you know, product, you know, something not getting there, you know, a lot of things, you know, it's just a lot that I had to learn. But at the end of the day, you have to be really passionate, you know, about what you're doing. And I believe that I'm driven to make this work as I was playing. And that's the thing that really drives me, it really motivates me. So I have to learn how to be coached, you know, how to learn from other people, things that they can help me with, and just learning skill sets, you know, just a lot of different things.
It sounds like it, yes, was a challenge, but a good challenge, and a challenge you were really willing and ready to dive headfirst and get into the weeds and figure it out and make it the best that it can be.
Yeah.
So.
And it takes a long time. Like, people think that it's a lifelong journey. We had an entrepreneurship program with our foundation, helping young entrepreneurs and incubating them and giving them the resources. And it's nothing like going through it yourself, though.
Yeah. Definitely a learning process. But like you said, patience is key, and you'll get there eventually, just as long as you stay focused. Up next, we have Pat, and I think today is his birthday from what he told me. So happy early birthday, Pat. What question do you have?
Hey, how's it going there, Mr. Allan Houston? My name's Pat DeMaria. I'm a huge fan, been a big fan of yours since your days at UT Knoxville. I was just wondering, what was your most memorable moment at the University of Tennessee? For me, it was the missed free throw against Kentucky, where you guys ended up winning the game by 1 point, as it happened on my birthday. But I want to know what's your most memorable moment. Take care. God bless you, brother.
Well, thank you for the question. God bless you too. I think, honestly, it's going to be one that people are not even going to know, because my father was my coach. You know, everything that led up to me playing for him, you know, was very intense. A lot of tough decisions, seeing him go through adversity, seeing me go through adversity. My sophomore year, we didn't have a good season at all, but we ended up getting to the SEC championship, and we just kind of let it all hang out. We beat Georgia. And after that game, there's a picture of me just going over and giving my dad a hug. In that moment, I remember it a little bit, but the picture, like,
brought it all back,
right? And you just, even though I played 2 more years after that and went on, like, that picture to me, like, brought together everything that went into the experience of me playing for him, being, you know, him being the first Black coach in that conference, playing against great players, going on to be a lottery pick, get my jersey retired there. But that was the moment that I think I remember the most.
Yeah, and it's crazy that you have it captured. It's one of those, a picture's worth a million words, and I'm sure you could have a million words to describe your journey up until that point. It's cool that it's captured in one of those things you'll never forget.
Yeah.
Okay, we're running a little late on time, but I still want to go through a couple of rapid fire questions with you, because it's just how I have to finish the show. So I'll cut a few out. Before we wrap it up, we're gonna just show one final commercial for Thistle.
All right. I started the Fizzle brand because I wanted to share my experiences and tools to encourage and build healthier and strong relationships between youth and adults in a diverse life coaching platform. Next, we want people to join our team, join Team Fizzle, and make an impact with us. Our activewear and merchandise are an outer expression of these values, and we want you to join us in spreading the message to engage, equip, inspire, and outfit those with the same mission as Fizzle.
Alrighty, rapid fire, hot seat. Are you ready?
I am.
Okay, so how this game works is I'm going to tell you just something very quickly, and you, first thing that pops into your head, you just reply back. Ready? We're going to just do like 5.
Okay.
Okay, besides your medals, what do you wear more of, silver or gold?
Definitely silver.
Okay. Someone that made you starstruck.
It's going to be really strange, but Justin Timberlake. Like, I just saw him. It was weird. Like, and he said, like, I saw you play at Tennessee. He's from Tennessee, and I saw you play. And I don't know why. I just was like, it was just weird. But yeah, big fan of his.
That's interesting. I like that answer. A song that makes you sing along every single time it comes on.
Rocky Top. Rocky Top.
Oh, I was gonna put this in here for you to finish Rocky Top, but at least we know it's your favorite song. Your most influential teammate.
I would say Charlie Ward.
Okay.
Charlie Ward.
Good answer. And then the last question I'll ask, the first jersey that you bought of another player.
George Gervin. I didn't even buy it. I had to make it. That's how old I am. They didn't even have the jersey so I went to the mall and screen printed his name on a tank top. And so I consider that buying it.
Hey, you were dedicated.
Nice man.
You needed that jersey, so you made it yourself. I like that. I like a crafty man. That's good. Okay, well, that is all the time we have today. I just wanted to say one final thank you to you for joining this Fanatics Live episode, giving us some background about yourself, your brand, your mission. Like I said before, I think there were a lot of lessons to extract from this. So I hope everybody who dialed in learned something new and can take something home and maybe practice something in the future. Before I send you off, Jack Boyle, I'm sure you work very closely with him. He was dialed in today. He's the global co-president, direct-to-consumer at Fanatics, and he just wanted to tell you that this was super inspiring, and we're just getting started. So thank you again, and have a wonderful rest of your afternoon, and we look forward to the next time we get to catch up.
Thank you. Go see Fizzle.live, Fanatics 21. Go check out the film. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thanks, Allan. All right, that is all the time we have, but we are not done for today. Today's a double header. I got to go drink a lot of water, maybe take a nap. We're staying in New York City. We are going to meet with Brian Leach. He is a New York Rangers legend. So I'll be back at 5 o'clock with some more fans. We're going to ask Brian some questions. Do not miss out. And this show will live on forever. So you can go on YouTube. You can go on fanatics.com/live to watch this show, our previous shows, and learn more about what we do and maybe how to get involved. So thanks so much, and I will see you soon. Bye.